What's up, guys? Today, we're going to be talking about the leafy sea dragon. With the scientific name of Phycodurus aqueus, they're related to seahorses, but if you couldn't tell, they look pretty different from the typical seahorse. So let's start by looking into their physical traits. Being part of the family Cygnathidae, like seahorses, leafy sea dragons have fused jaws and rigid bodies. And despite being called dragons, they don't have any scales, instead being covered in hard bony plates. They do have some sharp spines on their bony plates, but with how small they are, being up to 14 inches, it's probably more of a last resort defense mechanism to deter any smaller predators. What they usually rely on are their leaf-like appendages that cover their bodies from head to tail, giving them the perfect camouflage you can ask for. Leafy sea dragons are very slow, fragile, and small, so they pretty much completely rely on their leafy camouflage around seaweed and kelp to avoid predators. If they're spotted as prey, well, you can probably guess what happens. And with their rigid bodies, they can't really move, so for the most part, they stay still or drift along the ocean current, as if their seaweed or kelp impression couldn't get any better. I wonder what happens when the ocean current carries them away from their habitat into the open. I mean, you can guess what probably happens. But they can still swim with their small, transparent dorsal and pectoral fins along with their tail to steer. Sure, they can't swim fast, but it's the effort that counts. And unlike seahorses, their tails can't coil up, they kinda just poke outward. But they do have similar heads with their straw mouths. Leafy sea dragons can change color depending on how deep in the ocean they live, ranging from yellow-brown with dark pink bands around their bodies in shallower waters, to dark brown and burgundy red in deeper waters. My guess for why they have this range of colors is to camouflage with whatever plant life is present where they live. It's unknown how long leafy sea dragons can live in their natural environment, but it's believed that they can live for 6 to 10 years, so a bit more than what I would expect from them. I thought it'd be more so around 5 to 7 personally. The leafy sea dragon lives in the cooler rocky reefs of South and Western Australia, so thankfully there's at least one creature there that isn't just completely horrid. Along with rocky reefs, they also live around sand patches near the reefs, seaweed beds, and seagrass meadows. And depending on the spawning season and food availability in their habitat, leafy sea dragon populations in an area can change seasonally in response to them. Speaking of food, leafy sea dragons don't have teeth nor a stomach, so they're eating constantly while looking for prey. They'll eat tiny crustaceans, plankton, and larval fishes, but their favorite food they eat the most are mysid shrimp. Every day, they can eat thousands of these mysid shrimp. Using their straw mouths, they'll eat how you expect them to, by slurping and swallowing their prey whole. And since they blend in perfectly with their habitat, the leafy sea dragon will lie in wait for its food to come by, to prey unaware there's a predator hidden in plain sight until it's too late. Like seahorses, male leafy sea dragons carry the eggs, but unlike them, they're in a brood patch on the underside of their tails. The female will lay 250 to 300 eggs and push them into the male skin to be fertilized. The skin where the eggs are embedded is soft in the beginning, but will eventually harden to form a cup around each egg to keep it in place as they're incubated. After around 4 to 8 weeks, hatching begins, with the male releasing only a couple of eggs at a time. As you'd expect, this process takes some time, from hours to days to finally let go of all the eggs. Once born, baby leafy sea dragons are on their own from the start, but they do have a yolk that can support them for the next 2 to 3 days. Once their yolk is used up and snouts have developed more, the babies have to find their own food, like zooplankton and baby mysids, no more relying on handouts. At birth, leafy sea dragons are only around 0.8 inches long, but after just a year, they can grow up to 7.9 inches long, and within the first 2 years of their lives, they'll reach their full adult length. Until 2006, where they are now of least concern, the leafy sea dragon used to be classified as a near-threatened species on the IUCN Red List. This was due to their habitats being destroyed by, unsurprisingly, humans. Their homes would be damaged from human development, pollution, excessive fertilizer runoff, and fishing, where they're sometimes caught alongside other fish or poached by people. Collectors would strip their habitats naked to find and capture leafy sea dragons, so that they can sell them as part of the pet trade or for use in alternative Asian medicines, though I'm not sure exactly how they were used. It might have something to do with their common name as dragons, which are mythical creatures in Asian history. But fortunately, today the leafy sea dragon is protected in both South and Western Australia. The South Australian government actually allows one brooding male to be collected every year, where later, the captive babies are sent throughout the continent and across the world for education and research programs. I'm glad they're being actively protected. It'd be such a shame to lose these leafy creatures. But it is definitely still possible, especially with global warming affecting the water temperatures of their habitat. But as of now, they're doing alright. Anyway, that's all for today's lesson. Subscribe for more fish knowledge, and I'll see you next time.